Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going to zero in on the Grok Trade Market Summary. This is for April 17th, 2025. Our goal here is really to pull out the key stuff, understand what these market moves actually mean for you right now.
And right off the bat, you see a bit of a split, don't you? The S&P 500, it nudged up just a tiny bit, 0.1%. But then you look at the Dow Jones, and it took a noticeable dip, down 1.4%.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite a difference.
And NASDAQ, pretty much flat. Meanwhile, the Russell 2000, the small caps, they actually showed some strength, up 0.8%.
Okay, so that divergence is immediately interesting. We've got big caps down, small caps up.
Exactly. It's the first thing that kind of jumps out.
Absolutely.
But it's also worth noting, despite this little rally today, Grok Trade points out that the big indexes SPY, QQQ, DIA, they're still lined up for a weekly loss.
Okay, so the Russell's gain today makes it a bit of an outlier for the week overall.
Exactly. It's set for a small gain, unlike the others. And this is all happening during a relatively quiet week for actual news.
So if there wasn't a big news catalyst today, what's really driving this sort of cautious mood and this mixed performance?
Well, if you zoom out a bit, those ongoing trade uncertainties, the tariff discussions, they're still very much in the background. Even without major data releases today, just the potential for disruption, it keeps investors kind of on edge.
Right. It just casts a shadow, contributes to the overall caution.
Yeah, you see it reflected in that mixed performance across the indexes, and of course, that VIX staying stubbornly high.
And Grok Trade gave us a bit of a heads up for next week, something about watching for a potential downside rollover.
Yeah, that's their term. It's basically a signal to keep a close eye on that VIX. If volatility doesn't start coming down, they're suggesting the market might be vulnerable to a more significant move lower.
Especially heading into next week with the Good Friday closure. Less trading time could amplify things.
Did do, yeah. It just sets the stage for potentially bigger reactions if something does happen. Something to watch.
Okay, let's shift gears slightly. What about crypto and commodities? Bitcoin moved up a bit.
It did, yeah. BTC was up about 1.1%. But it's interesting, it's been trading in a pretty tight range for, 6 days now? The key thing Grok Trade noted is that it's holding above its 20-day moving average. That's a technical level people watch.
Right, so holding above support could suggest maybe a setup for a breakout later.
Potentially. If it can break out of this current consolidation phase, yeah, it's on watch.
And gold and silver, they've had a huge run. What happened today?
Pulled back a little. Gold, GLD, dipped about 0.4%, and silver SLV was down 0.7%. But Grok Trade framed these as, quote, healthy consolidations.
Healthy consolidation, meaning just taking a breather after the big climb.
Exactly. After hitting all-time highs for gold, it's pretty normal to see some profit-taking. They seem to see it as just a pause within the bigger uptrend for both metals.
Okay, so let's try and pull this all together then. Today's Grok Trade picture shows a stock market. Well, it's got some internal conflicts, right? And still high volatility.
Definitely mixed signals everywhere.
Small caps showed some relative strength, which is interesting. But overall caution seems to be the word, largely because of that trade backdrop.
Yep. And then in crypto and precious metals, it looks like more of a consolidation day. Taking a pause.
So for listeners, the key takeaway really seems to be keep watching that VIX.
I think so. It's that barometer of market nerves, and Grok Trade is clearly flagging it as crucial for what might happen next, especially going into a holiday-shortened week.
Okay, so here's maybe a final thought to chew on. We saw small caps doing relatively okay this week, while the big Dow stocks struggled. What might that difference be telling us about where investors are seeing perhaps opportunity, or maybe just less risk in the market right now? Something to consider. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.